The AFC as a whole, some think is down this year. There is not an undefeated team in the AFC. There's only two undefeated teams in the whole NFL, and it's Philly and San Francisco. So, in your mind, Josh, has the AFC lived up to the offseason that we were all saying the AFC is superior by far to the NFC?
I have to say no, because, yeah, you've got Buffalo, Miami, Kansas City. We'll see if Jacksonville can put it together. Obviously, Baltimore. But Cincinnati hasn't lived up to the bargain. The Browns, maybe, but they had a clunker last week against Baltimore. And then you look over in the NFC, you've got San Francisco and Philadelphia. You've got Detroit. You've got Dallas. Looks like Tampa Bay might be legit. I'm not 100% sure, but they're there. I feel like the NFC has a little more than the AFC.
So this is what talk shows do. Talk shows like us, talk shows that are on TV, talk shows that are on radio. This is what we do during 4 weeks of the NFL season. We kind of know what we have. But you'll learn my general rule in the NFL is if you have a good coach, you have a good quarterback, you're generally going to be fine. I may be the only person on the planet. I'm not worried about Cincinnati yet. I still think Cincinnati is going to be a very good team. They're going to be in there at the end. Whether that means division now at this point, because they're technically 3 games behind Baltimore, obviously losing the one in the division, plus the 2 games that are already back of them. I don't know. You know, if Baltimore stays healthy, I said it going into the year, I thought Baltimore and Cincinnati were neck and neck. If Baltimore were to stay healthy, I could have seen them dethroning Cincinnati in the AFC North. And I think the Browns are still going to be fine. I think they're going to win 8 or 9 games. That's right where I projected them to be. Miami and Buffalo are going to be somewhere around that 11-12 mark. I have a feeling that's right where we kind of projected them to be. Chargers are still going to win about 10 games, I believe. That's right where most people projected them to be. So I just think when it comes down to it, we are all looking at these teams are all beating each other up. And Kansas City has not looked spectacular every single week, no, but they're still winning games. This is what you get when you have a bunch of teams in one conference competing against another. Denver is still bad as last year. I did not expect that. I thought they would be better than last year. I think the 2 biggest surprises, and let's take away Aaron Rodgers. Jacksonville, even at 2-2, they're the one team that even though they're in a weak division, they have not looked good.
No.
Outside of week 1 against the Colts, they have not looked good. There is a scenario I actually think where the Colts could go in there and steal that division from Jacksonville at this point because Anthony Richardson, if he stays healthy, and he's already been out twice, but the Colts look like a pretty damn good football team with Shane Steichen.
And don't dismiss Houston either.
They're not there yet. They're not there. They need about 1 more year. To me, Houston needs more piece defensively. Indy has the piece defensively. They have Kenny Moore. They have Shaq Leonard. They have DeForest Buckner. Houston doesn't really have a notable name on defense, really, outside of maybe Derek Stingley Jr., who hasn't been great. Obviously, the young corner they drafted out of LSU a couple years ago. So it's not really a surprise. It's a matter of we all forget that these teams play each other. So the records are going to be a little bit down. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, losing him is what kind of made the AFC look not great. But the bottom line is like Pittsburgh still has 2 wins. The Browns have 2 wins. Tennessee, who I don't love, has 2 wins. New England's 1-3. They've looked terrible, and yet they could be 3-1 at the same time. So there's a lot.
If Josh McDaniels could actually count, the Raiders might be better.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot going on, and in the NFC, there's just not enough star quarterbacks. I like Jared Goff, but I think the Lions have a ceiling. I like Geno Smith. I think him and Seattle have a ceiling. You guys all talk about Brock Purdy. I think eventually Brock Purdy's going to turn into a pumpkin. I'm still not sold on Brock Purdy, and I'll never be sold on Brock Purdy until he actually beats a good team without kicking field goals. We'll see how they do this weekend against Dallas. I still think the two best teams in the NFC are Philly and Dallas. I said it going into the year. I still believe it. They look like the two best teams, and I'm going to give my
Dallas
team,
does not. No, they don't.
okay, they lost to Arizona. I get it. Outside of that, they've blown people out by 20 straight points.
Have they really played anyone, though?
Well, they play the Giants. They stink.
Exactly.
They play the Jets with Zach Wilson, and then they played New England. So I get it. But I'll tell you what, Dallas goes in there now with confidence against San Francisco. All it takes is one win.
They're not going to get that win, though.
They might. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to, but they might. You're going to act like it's a foregone conclusion San Francisco's going to win. I'm not sure it's a foregone conclusion.
I mean, we've seen what's happened the last two times Dallas has played San Francisco.
They've been close games. They've gone down to the wire.
Yes, but who's come up with the game-winning play? Dallas or San Francisco?
Well, it's been Dallas handing it to San Francisco.
Either way, it's been San Francisco.
2 years ago, Dallas had a chance to down to the buzzer, and they decided to run a QB draw, and they don't know the clock rules. That's on Mike McCarthy. And last year, Doug made two key critical interceptions when Brock Purdy played like trash. I'm sorry, Purdy did not play well in that game. Their offense did not play well in that game. Their defense won them that game.
We'll get to Dallas and San Francisco more later. But here's the thing with the NFC. It's Philly, it's San Francisco, it's Dallas, it's Seattle, it's Detroit.
No, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. It's Philly, Dallas, San Francisco. That's it. Detroit and Seattle have ceilings. Geno Smith is not taking a team to the NFC Championship.
Yes, he can.
Not. No, he's not. Did you see him last night against the Giants? They put up 4, and by the way, he only put up 7 points himself. They got a pick 6, and then of course Drew Lock on the drive where Noah Fant got down to the 1 yard line. Kenneth Walker punched it in. Seattle did not look very good last night against the Giants.
Okay, whatever.
We see what Geno Smith is. He's a very good quarterback in Seattle and a very good scheme with limitations. That's what he is. I don't know why you're so fascinated by Geno Smith. He's still Geno Smith.
Oh, my God.
Caleb Williams right now at USC is a better quarterback than Geno Smith, and I can unequivocally say that. Drake May right now, by the way, in North Carolina, is a better quarterback than Geno Smith. You don't think if Seattle had the choice, if they were to call one of the by the way, we are about to get to this in about 5-10 minutes. You don't think one of these NFL quarterbacks with your Geno Smiths or your Baker Mayfields, because that's the level I have Geno Smith on. A guy that can win you games, not going to get you over the top, not going to get you to the NFC Championship or anything like that. You don't think, like Tampa, I would think that they would actually like to take, but Baker Mayfield's playing so well they can't do it. Remember Seattle trying to tank last year and Geno Smith told them no.
Jeez. I'm never going to convince you with the Seahawks.
No, you're never going to convince me because what has Geno Smith proven? He's never won a playoff game. It took him 7 years. I've never seen anything like it. He was sitting on the bench for 7 years, Josh. 7 years as a backup at Cuban at the incredible. You can't even speak about it, and we'll never see it again.
Okay.
And by the way, as much as I like Jared Goff, what is my knock on Jared Goff? And you, by the way, were saying that Hayden Hooker was going to come into the middle of the season because Jared Goff's going to struggle. I love Jared Goff. He can't play in cold weather.
He just did it last week in Green Bay.
It wasn't cold in Green Bay. I'm talking about below 40 degrees. I'm talking when the weather. Have you not seen Jared Goff in November, December outside?
Okay. I mean, he already had his Green Bay game. The Minnesota game is Minnesota plays indoors.
Their big test is going to be week 14 at Chicago, and they should be tanking already. So they're not going to have to deal with weather the whole year. But what are they going to do when you have to go to potentially a Philadelphia, when you may have to go to Seattle in a rainy January game? They're not going to play well. And I like Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff can win you a playoff game or two. I like him more than Geno.
What? Detroit can run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They're getting Jameson Williams back because the NFL changed their gambling policy and all that. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta has come into his own as a tight end.
This is where I think you struggle. I'm always looking ahead. You're looking at the now. I don't care. The Lions can win 11, 12 games. They're all good in the just like the NBA. I don't care what you do in the regular season. I know the teams that are more than likely going to be there in the postseason. We by the way, people are starting to write off Cincinnati. Don't write off Cincinnati. If Burrow comes back and he's fine, they're gonna make the playoffs. Unless Burrow's out and they can't move the ball, then they're not.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Let's not overthink the room. What we do in week 4, we're all overthinking. We're all talking. Don't overthink the room. We know who's good. We know who's not that good.
Yeah.
And by the way, I said this today on Brand's Word, and we're going to get to our best games NFL Week 5 in 1 second. I want to finish with this. There are about, I would say, between 6 and 7 teams in the NFL we know that are really, really good. There are about 6 or 7 that we know are probably pretty bad. The rest, that's what, 16, 18 teams? They're all right in the middle. 8 to 10 wins. That's it. That's the NFL. Every single year.
Hey.
No, it's not, Josh. You know it's true.
Do I? Do I, though?